Chapter 12, Example 1. An ad for Optigrow plant fertilizer claims that with this product you will grow juicier, tastier tomatoes. How can you set up an experiment to check out the claim? Of course, you'll have to get some tomatoes, try growing some plants with the product and some without, and see what happens. But you'll need a clearer plan than that. How should you design your experiment? So we're going to do a randomized single factor design, and we'll start with the first few examples just defining what factors are, levels, treatments, all that, so we get used to the vocabulary. You absolutely need to know vocabulary. This chapter is very vocabulary intensive. You've got to know all of these terms: factor, levels, treatments, blinding, placebo, double blind, all these things. So first, the factor. What is it that we're applying here? And in this case, our factor is the fertilizer. Okay? Then we want to look at the levels. What levels are we applying? Okay? And the levels are like, how much fertilizer are we applying? None. A quarter of the dose. Twice as much as recommended. And we just need to do fertilizer or no fertilizer on this one. Okay? It doesn't give us any other instructions on that. We've got to test the fertilizer, obviously, and then we've got to do it without, because we need some sort of control group. We need it to say, okay, that made a difference. So we have two levels, one factor, two levels. The treatment. Now in this case, our treatment is going to be the same as the levels, but it can change. If you had two factors and two levels, then you're going to have 4 treatments. So it doesn't look like it's any different in this case, but it will be. In this case, our treatment is, we'll have a group that gets the full amount of fertilizer and a group that gets no fertilizer. Now we're ready to put it together. We always love drawing pictures. That's always, picture, picture, picture. That's the first thing we talk about in every unit that introduces a new topic. What should we do? Draw a picture. So we use diagrams for these designs, and you're also going to want to write up a paragraph explaining what's going on, but we start with a diagram. And for this example, let's say we think 24 tomatoes is sufficient. So I'm going to get 24 tomatoes. Okay. And then we have 2 levels, 2 treatments. So I'm going to have 2 little branches that break off here. And for each of these, I have to randomly assign the tomatoes. Critical to put that in there. Always identify that you're going to do a random assignment. Okay, so I'm going to do a first group up here that has 12 plants in it. I just split it evenly, and then I apply the treatment to it. This is my control group, so they're going to receive no fertilizer. On the bottom half of my diagram, I'll have a second group of 12 plants. Okay, and they're going to receive treatment 2, which is the full recommended dose of fertilizer. And then finally, we will compare their juiciness and tastiness. Okay, that's the final step. How we're going to do that, we don't really know. Maybe we do a taste test. Maybe there's some rating system. Who knows? But we'll have to have some way to compare those. Now you would normally want to write up a paragraph saying what you're going to do. I will acquire 24 tomato plants from the same store. We'll randomly assign them into 2 groups. Group 1 will have 12 plants. That will be my control group. Group 2 will have 12 plants. That's my treatment group. They'll receive the full amount of fertilizer. I will randomly assign them by numbering all the plants 1 through 24. I will generate a set of 12 random numbers. Any numbers that repeat, I will remove, and I'll pick another number. Those first 12 numbers I get, those will be the plants that go in group 1. The remaining plants will grow in group 2. Explain how you're going to randomly assign them. Okay? Once the experiment's done, once the plants are ripened, we will compare the juiciness and tastiness. I will make sure that put all the detail we can into this. All the plants will be in the same soil. They'll be close to each other so that they receive the same amount of sunlight. They have the same air quality and temperature. We want to eliminate as many variables as possible. So go into detail. What are all the things you're going to do to eliminate those variables? Each plant will receive the same amount of water every day. Maybe we think time's a factor. They'll receive it at the same time of day. We'll turn on sprinklers, spring the same amount of water out for 15 minutes or whatever you need. But we've got to treat all those plants as equally as we can, with fertilizer being the only difference between them.